Well, 2024 will undoubtedly be remembered for many reasons, a lot of them negative. One good thing has come from this year, and it is this, the third generation LEXUS GX, which has been completely redesigned for the first time in 13 years. And quite simply, it has been improved in every single way. It starts with the looks. While the last generation GX wasn't offensive, I always found its shape a little awkward. This new GX rectifies this. I really love the long and flat hood, this accent line that runs from the headlights all the way to the taillights, and the general shape of the greenhouse. Now, if the outline of this vehicle looks familiar, that is because the GX now has a Toyota sibling, the new Toyota Land Cruiser. And the platform that the new Land Cruiser and GX ride on and the wheelbase are also shared with the new Toyota 4Runner. So there are many mid-size body-on-frame Toyota/Lexus SUVs to choose from. But the GX distinguishes itself, well, in many ways, but most notably under the hood, where you're going to find a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6. This is the same engine found in Toyota Tundra and Lexus LX600. The 4Runner and Land Cruiser are exclusively powered by 4 cylinders. This GX makes 349 horsepower and 479 pound-feet of torque. That's down 60 horsepower from what this engine produces in the LX600, but it's up 48 horsepower from the last generation GX's V8. Going back to the looks, I do think it is the rear end that is the most improved. I love how the front looks, but I didn't love how the back of the last generation GX looks, and this I think is a big improvement. I do really like this light bar and LEXUS spelled out. GX550 also just sounds more premium than GX470. That's why they did it. Your back glass can still open independently, although this is now a powered tailgate instead of a side opening tailgate like you got on the last generation GX. Popping the hazards on, I think, really helps show how sophisticated and mature this design is. I love how crisp and thin they are. This is just a really luxurious looking car, and though I can't quite put my finger on it, its Japanese heritage does come through in the design. It's quite different looking from most of the cars that are sold in the US, and for that, I really appreciate it. Opening the tailgate again, you're going to find 40.2 cubic feet of storage behind the second row. For reference, the Lexus TX, Lexus's unibody 3-row midsize SUV. This is Lexus's body-on-frame 3-row midsize SUV. The TX has 57.2 cubic feet of storage behind the second row, so about 17 more. If you raise the third row up, that will lower the GX's cargo area to just 10.3 cubic feet. The Lexus TX has about 20.3 cubic feet behind the third row, but it is nice that this action is power operated for the third row in the Lexus GX. And as you can see, this is a very square opening in the Lexus GX, so it does make its 40.2 cubic feet very practical. Into the third row is a bit more of a hassle in the GX than it is in the TX. The TX just has a one-touch button that you press and the seat whizzes out of the way. In this, you have to pull a lever, it folds the seat down, and then the base of the seat also folds up to give you enough space to climb in. And I'm gonna close the door as I do so. Okay. And then you have to pull this seat down, it locks into place, and then you pull it up, locks into place again, and then I'm gonna reach around to make sure it's reclined to a comfortable seating position to properly demonstrate. So here in the third row, I actually do fit, which is quite impressive. I have just enough knee room, although the floor of the third row of the GX is very high, and that's going to be the biggest difference in terms of body on frame to unibody. Unibody is going to have a lot more of a lower floor in the rear of the car. Because of the body on frame architecture of this vehicle, the floor of the back of the GX is very high, so I am kind of in the fetal position, and when I sit upright, my head does hit the ceiling, although I could sit back here for, you know, probably a half hour and not be too uncomfortable. All right, sitting in the second row of the Lexus GX at 6'2", I have plenty of knee room, foot room, and headroom. This one does not have a panoramic sunroof, but I do have enough headroom, and it's fairly comfortable back here. This folds down to reveal some armrest and some cup holders. You have heated outboard seats back here, your own climate zone, and dual USB-C charging outlets. Map pockets on the back of the seats in front of you, although there are no peasant blockers on this. I would have liked to see that on this Lexus GX, but it is fairly comfortable back here for me at 6'2". But chances are, if you're buying a GX, you're going to spend little to no time in the second or third row, and it's going to be up front that you're spending all your time. And this is the area of most improvement from the second generation GX. This third gen GX is just so much better. That sophisticated, mature, and luxurious design language I was talking about on the outside continues on the inside. You have a 14-inch infotainment system, a fully digital instrument cluster, a heads-up display, higher trim models get a virtual rear view mirror, but it is all just in the detail. This center console has soft touch surfaces in between all of the switchgear. I love that you have a real shifter, not some electronic shifter that a lot of OEMs are moving to. Even just the controls to move from 4 high to 4 low, it feels very mature and luxurious, and it's beeping now because it's mad at me for switching into 4 low. You also have a locking center differential, so that is where this vehicle is very capable and stuff that can do things that a Lexus TX cannot do. But more than just the aesthetic of the interior, the layout and the seating position also make this car feel very sophisticated. It is very reminiscent of a G-Wagon in the way you are sitting in this vehicle. You have a very upright windscreen. The roof of this car is kind of lower than in other cars because of this. It's body on frame again, so there's just less up and down space in this vehicle. You have very upright A-pillars with grab handles on them. Your windows are very upright as well. Upright and narrow is kind of the aesthetic of this, and nothing more than the side view mirror demonstrates that. These are not very functional side view mirrors. They are very vertically oriented instead of horizontally oriented, so I find myself having to go like this to check my blind spots while I'm driving this car. It does have blind spot monitoring, which is very helpful. But yeah, overall, the materials, the fit and finish of this interior are great. I do really like how this infotainment system is just kind of connected into the dash and where the start-stop button is. I think they did an excellent job with this interior. A great step up from the last generation. You get plenty of storage in the center console. There's a wireless charging pad, 2 cup holders, and some USB-C charging outlets, and a 12-volt socket. So this is just a really impressive interior. This one also has a sunroof, but like I said, you can also get a panoramic sunroof. All right, driving the GX550, and the first thing I noticed about this car is that it does just feel a lot more substantial than the Lexus TX. That comes from the engine and the seating position of this car, and just the feel you get while driving it. It feels kind of like a truck, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a really substantial and capable way. You know, I've gotten a lot of comments on my other content with this car saying that the GX just doesn't have a good ride compared to the TX, and I kind of disagree with this. I think that the GX in certain configurations rides even better than the Lexus TX. Like right now, this isn't a very great road. It's got a lot of you know, cracks and stuff in it, and the GX is pretty floaty down it. Now this is the premium plus trim level, so there are 3 different main trim levels of the GX: premium, off, overtrail, and luxury. And so in each of those you can get a plus version, which just adds some features. So the premium GXs, they get 20-inch rims, and that has a noticeably better ride than the luxury GXs, which get 22s, which I think look a lot better, but the ride quality definitely goes down. So if you want a nice riding GX, the premium or the overtrail, which has an even thicker side wall than this premium, would even have a better ride. The wheel size and the tire combination really does matter on the GX, but I find this suspension super comfortable, and overall this really just is a premium feeling vehicle. It feels very well built, very substantial. It's really quiet in here. Even though you have a very upright windscreen, I'm very impressed by how quiet it is in this car. And the overall feeling you get is just one of power and sophistication again. I think that is the word to describe this Lexus GX. It is a very sophisticated vehicle, and the driving dynamics are similar. Putting my foot down here, 479 pound-feet of torque is plenty for this GX. It really does rocket off the line. It is a pretty powerful engine. You don't need the hybrid assist that the iForce Max gives you. I just would like to see that. I think for fuel economy, I've been averaging 17.4 in this GX, which isn't great. The GX has never been great on fuel economy, and it's 3.5 liter twin turbos V6. Even though it's downsized from the old 4.6 V8, it's still pretty thirsty, but I do like how punchy this is. This is definitely more powerful than the last generation V8, because that was a little sluggish. In other driving dynamics, this is a tall body on frame SUV, so no, it is not going to corner very well, and the GX550, it does not disobey the laws of physics. It leans a lot in the bends. This is not going to be very dynamic. The TX does definitely have a bit more
dynamic driving qualities. Not that it has a lot of it, but because it is it's unibody, its architecture supports a bit more aggressive driving. Not that either of these cars are super aggressive, although you can get an F Sport version of the TX in the form of the 500H that has the 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder hybrid, the same powertrain that you can get in the Toyota Land Cruiser. That's the only powertrain available in the Toyota Land Cruiser, which obviously shares an architecture with this GX550. So it's kind of weird how Toyota mixes and matches their body styles and engine combinations. But in terms of this GX550's powertrain, I really do think it fits the character of the car. I'm glad they didn't just stick that hybrid in it, because that would not have been I don't think that 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder is that refined, not really as refined in a luxury setting. That's one thing I don't love about the TX, is that you get that 4-cylinder, although you can get a V6 in the TX if you get the plug-in hybrid one, which is odd that getting the plug-in hybrid changes the engine. That's a 3.5 liter naturally aspirated V6, so like their last generation V6s. Very interesting, again, engine choice for that car. But I really do appreciate the engine in this GX550. I think it's better than the one that most TXs have, and it fits this GX. The interior also just lends itself to the premium nature of this vehicle. I love how upright everything is. You really do feel high off the road. You have a great seating position, very commanding, which there really aren't that many opportunities for a seating position such as this in a body-on-frame SUV. So I really do like that you get that in this GX. But yeah, overall, I am really impressed by this car. I like its on-road driving dynamics. It is exactly what I want from a vehicle such as this. It feels substantial and significant while still being very luxurious and comfortable. These seats are really comfortable. All of the touch points in this car are super soft. The materials are high quality. And again, this is the Premium Plus version, so there are nicer versions in the Luxury Plus, and there's an off-road version in the Overtrail and Overtrail Plus. So if that is more of your vibe, you can get a GX now that has those aesthetics and capabilities, but I am really impressed overall with this GX. If I was buying a Lexus 3-row midsize SUV, I would definitely choose the GX over the TX. It's more of my vibe. It's cooler. It has more character to it, more soul. The TX is very practical and made to be functional, and this GX is made to be capable and just a bit more exciting.
So that's the 2024 Lexus GX550. More so even than the Lexus LX, the GX achieves sophistication in a body-on-frame SUV. This car has all of the capabilities of the Toyota Land Cruiser on which it's based, but does so in a far more refined and luxurious package. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in my next video.